Each year, more than 500,000 small businesses close their doors in the United States, and according to a report done by Small Business Administration, 2/3 of new companies survive at least 2 years, while just 31% last at least 7 years. Virginia Zabala opened her beauty salon on March 17th, and she is already considering to close.
I'm about to. I don't know if to shut down or get an associate or what. I don't think I can do it anymore. My husband is practically giving all his salary here, and he has to work overtime and everything. Right now, I practically have to rent 2 barber chairs, and that is what is helping me now. But they just pay me $600 a month. And it's not enough just in rent alone, it's $2,100, and now I have an outstanding electricity bill of $6,000. Plus, I have to pay for garbage removal and other little expenses that are also part of having a business.
Although she has been in business for less than a year, the impact of the economy downturn that the country is still going through has already translated in personal cuts.
Salí de una manicurista porque quería que le pagara más y yo no puedo.
I had to let a manicurist go because she wanted me to pay her more, and I can't afford it. I pay $50, and that is already hard because times are tough. I do advertise. I leave cards everywhere. I go and I want to publish an ad in the newspaper, but I like to do it if I knew that it would really bring me people. Because what good would it be to invest in advertisement if I still don't get any clients? Because it's also that the economy is tough and there are many unemployed people, and that also damages our business.
She is trying to do whatever it takes to stay afloat. But unless the rules have changed under the new law, obtaining a loan is not an option because her business is still too young.
Fui ahorita hace como unos 4 o 5 días fue en el Citibank.
I went to Citibank a few days ago to see if they would give me a loan. I'm waiting. But they told me that I have to be in business for a year and 6 months. Can you imagine? Plus, they see the record of the business and they don't want to take the risk. That's why I need some help from the government, because if I borrow money from the loan sharks, they will eat me alive.
Well, Virginia is in a tough spot.
Virginia is in a tough spot, but help is on its way. With the $30 billion that this Job Act is giving to Treasury, the $30 billion is going to go to smaller banks, community banks, not the large banks anymore. It's really, these people like Virginia really have close contacts with the community. And those community banks that were out of the picture before are now in. Now they're going to have a flow of funds to get to this type of businesses. So this is a radical shift, and I'm really, really pleased to see this because it truly, truly benefits the Hispanic and mainly African American and immigrant communities. Those smaller banks, that is, I think, is a huge development, and that this act is actually providing that. What I would recommend her to do is go and see what a smaller bank in her community could actually, she needs a microloan more than anything. Now with this Jobs Act, we have increased the limit from $35,000 to $50,000. She can get up to $50,000. Microloans are a lot easier to get. The interest rate is a lot lower. So they are new options for her. That this is my job right now, to get the Hispanic community to know that this Jobs Act is really going to try to reach down to the community level to lift people like her.
But I'm glad we used this business as an illustration because I think it's pretty typical. Small capitalization, basically for
Absolutely.
Tools and supplies, a few employees, basically a cash business, but dealing in something that when times are tough and her customers have fewer hours, often lower salaries, or in a neighborhood like that, higher unemployment than is in many other places in the country. And when they look in the mirror, they think, I can wait another 2 weeks to get a haircut. I can wait another 3 weeks before I go in and get my nails done. This is something that if we're in a tough spot right now, I can do without. And as people decide what they can do without, they're deciding they can do without her. Mauricio, do we want to just keep her afloat until things turn the corner? Or how would you advise someone in this situation?
Basically, we need to assess what is the financial plan that they have, but based on the short and mid and long-term goal. It's not a matter of I want to borrow the money. It's how are you going to borrow the money, because that's the crucial piece of the information that you need to understand and the way that you can interact with the market. Number one, we don't want to bring more debts if you are not going to pay that money back. Number two, if you don't know your numbers, you need to understand your break-even point, to understand what will be your fixed and variable costs in order for you to be able to have your break-even point at least.
Well, our owner here seems to know where every dollar is going. You know, we heard about her electricity bill and her rent, and this doesn't seem to be a question of a misunderstanding of the marketplace as much as just trying to keep the doors open until times get better, and then she'll be able to cover all her obligations. But if times don't get better, she'll end up closing her doors and owing $50,000 instead of $10,000 if we lend her more money.
Well, I will say that the financial plan is attached to the marketing plan, because once you are running the business, you will be able to assess your performance every month from day 1 to day 30th in order for you to be able to see how is my business performing. Based on that decisions, you have to make the decisions and the adjustments that the business requires at that point. If you are not able to have the vision of the business, at some point your cash flow is going to be an issue. And that's why when you cannot anticipate that situation, it's very difficult.
How would you advise Virginia? It sounds like it's almost gut check time.
Well, this is a huge challenge. I mean, you know, the thing I didn't hear is why she needs the loan. Does she need the loan because she's growing? Does she need the loan because she expects to be able to infuse that money into her business and grow her business and consequently be able to pay back the loan? Or does she need the loan just because she needs money in
Sounds
the
like
businesses?
just to keep the doors open. She's already taking 2 of the chairs in the shop and renting them out almost to subcontractors who are using them to cut hair there.
So I think if I were in the banking business, and I want to stress business because banks are businesses, and if I'm in the banking business, I'm going to be a little apprehensive, regardless of whether my loans are backed, about giving money to a company, to a business, whether it's small or large, that doesn't have the ability to pay me back and doesn't have a solid plan for being able to take that money and turn that into additional money so that they can not only pay their existing bills, but pay now this new bill, this new loan.
Because it sounds like she needs bridging capital to get her to the point so where she can survive long enough until the customers come back.
But it is a 1-year-old business, so she started it in a tough point in time to begin with. And she probably opened it because maybe she lost her job, and this is just her way to survive.
And that's a pretty common story, right?
Absolutely, it is.
People
we see that
starting
quite a
businesses
bit.
because their primary occupation has gone away.
Absolutely. Actually, we are kind of talking now with the Department of Labor in terms of how we're going to train all these people that actually have lost their jobs into being entrepreneurs and have self-employment. So this is something that is starting to create a kind of a synergy between 2 government agencies. But the tough thing to see is that I see her, and I can guarantee you, well, almost guarantee you, that there must be 3 or 4 beauty salons around that same area where she is. So the competition that she just jumped into was tough to begin with, in a tough economic climate. And I can almost, I really feel for her, because this is the case that we see every time. It was a survival mode more than anything. Sometimes you say, well, my dream was always to open a beauty salon. But when large businesses get a call, small businesses get pneumonia, and it's just so tough to see that. So, unfortunately, you're right. Maybe the loan right now would just give her, get her into a deeper hole, because she would probably, end up with a $50,000 or whatever else she needs. And that's what I think the advice of somebody like a Small Business Development Center or a Chamber of Commerce could really guide her and see the options to see, is this actually viable? Or are you going to end up worse than a year ago?